So this level's cool, at least in atmosphere. In this level, we're basically doing a rooftop chase. We figure out how to get on the rooftop, and then we run across the rooftops, and that's the level. I like the alleys and fire escapes and the architecture on the side of the buildings. It all looks very nice, very Gotham. I also really like that almost all of the villains in the Penguin's lair are animal-themed, except for Bane. You know, everybody but Bane, animal-themed. Kind of odd. But maybe the real animal was humanity all along, and that's what Bane is here to teach us. I'm trying to remember how the fight with Bane works, and it's not coming to me right now, even though I literally just did it a little bit ago. I can tell you how all the other fights go. I question the necessity of having Bane and Killer Croc on the same team, though. I mean, sure, the cutscene showed that Bane was stronger, but for the purposes of Batman, does that really matter? Especially Lego Batman. It's not like Batman's going to get in a strength contest with either of them. So, like, the idea is that he uses his smarts to get out of that. Alright. Up on the rooftops. I do like the rain effect. The rain is, it's not terribly great, but at least it's also not a really bizarre cone, like in some other 3D games. So there's that. It adds the appropriate amount of atmosphere. We also get the glide suit again, which is still my favorite Batman suit. Because I still think it has the most gameplay. If you're wondering about the heat suit, it never comes back. You can use it in free play, but it never comes back in the story. That one time we used it for like 10 seconds, that's it. And sure, the heat suit did not have a lot going on. Some could say it had almost nothing at all going on. But, you know, sometimes it's nice to have that little break where you don't have to worry too much about what to do. Because even though this game is really simple and it's mostly about pathfinding, sometimes you really, really have no idea where you're going. And when you see the heat suit, you're like, oh, I know exactly where to use this for the one time you use it. And I did say Lego games are simple, because they are. But there's actually a lot to balance here in the game design that can be kind of difficult. Like, you want to have pathfinding, because pathfinding is the primary puzzle in LEGO games. How to get from here to there. That's the most common puzzle, and sometimes in some LEGO games, the only puzzle is how do I get from here to there. And I like pathfinding puzzles. I think they can be fun. Oh, also, first fight against Catwoman, using jump attacks on her. Great idea. You home in on her when you use jump attacks and they almost always hit. Makes it a lot easier with how much she jumps around. Anyway, as I was saying, I like pathfinding puzzles. But sometimes the LEGO games and LEGO Batman specifically take it a little too far. Let me borrow a quote from IGN that I don't entirely agree with, but I can understand the sentiment of. Here we go. It seems that once in just about every level there is a moment where it's unclear what you're supposed to do next. This isn't because the puzzles are clever, but because many of the solutions aren't logical. The solutions can seem random, and when you do finally figure out what you're supposed to do, like jump on top of a flower or that there is a hard-to-see lever that needs to be pulled, there's no aha moment. Instead, it's, are you kidding me? This isn't exactly a new phenomenon to the series, it's bad level design, and there's no reason for it in the series' 5th iteration. And he's right, there are a lot of moments where you would have no reasonable way to figure out what you're supposed to do beyond just plain trial and error. This isn't one of those, though. Pretty clear you're supposed to drive this thing in there and over these switches, because we already drove a remote-controlled car over switches before. And it's pretty clear we're supposed to blow up these silver Lego blocks using explosives, because we've already done that before. The game appropriately gave us all the visual information we need to figure out what's going on. And our reward is actually something really cool that we only get to use for a couple of seconds. There's this really awesome helicopter, and whoever is not flying grapples onto the underside, and it's just cool. Like, sure, we only got to use it until we get here, and then we can trash it. But that's so cool that whoever's not using the copter grapples onto the underside. I feel like that's worth it by itself. Anyway, back to the previous topic. I feel like the wandering around, not knowing what the hell I'm doing, is kind of worse in LEGO Batman than in most other LEGO games, and I think that might have been my primary issue with it. It may still be my primary issue with it. In addition to it just kind of not being as creative as the other... Oh, I'm going to throw this guy through the window. Okay, no, I'm going to throw this guy through the window. Hell yes. Alright, all criticisms are irrelevant. Just threw that guy through a LEGO window. You see what I mean by the architecture on the outside of these buildings, right? It's really cool. I don't know why we're just now being introduced to Catwoman, but, you know, it's alright. So, the boss fight against Hold on. Gotta deal with these guys first. So, the boss fight against Catwoman. How this works is we punch her a few times, and then she jumps away, and we have to go find her. And then we punch her a few times, and she jumps away again, and we have to go find her. This may sound... Please stop hitting me, please. This may sound completely identical to the previous time we fought her in this level, but it's not, because this time there are 3 levels on which to fight. So, it's more about platforming than just running around and hitting her while she runs away. You gotta jump a lot more. Unfortunately, when you actually get Catwoman, you don't get to jump like she does. You don't get to jump like that. Sure, she's agile, but she's not as agile as she is during this boss fight. Because, you know, when she becomes a player character, she just has to be less cool. That's how it works. But I really don't mind the idea behind this boss fight. I think it helps give it its own identity. Like, a lot of people might not see the appeal in, oh, now Catwoman jumped somewhere else, but I think it fits with her character. I feel like her bouncing around all over the place like crazy and making us chase after her, I feel like that's pretty good for a boss battle against Catwoman. Like that, yeah. Just keeps fucking running away. And then after we chase her down, she summons goons. We gotta beat up the goons and chase her down again. You get how it works. I don't know where Batman is right now. Batman seems to have just kind of left the building. But that's okay, because we've got this handled. 2 people are not required for this boss battle. In fact, the second player might have a hard time figuring out what to do during this boss battle. I guess the second player could always sit on their hands or recite Batman trivia, but it's not really the kind of interactive entertainment that I was looking for. So the Batboat battle is a physics puzzle level, and I like it. How it works is we grab one of these mines and we drag it behind us, and how it works is we grab one of those mines and drag it behind us and then blow up walls with it. And there you go, that's the level. Now, unlike the previous vehicle level, Robin does have something to do here. He's more valuable in combat because he has homing torpedo attacks. And in addition to that, you have to use him to solve at least one puzzle in this level. He's even more important in the third vehicle level, but at least he's semi-important in this one. I'm not sure how to feel about the vehicle levels as a whole. I think they're fun, and it's cool that they break up the pacing when I'm getting tired of the normal LEGO formula. Ah, shit. But then there are times when I'm ready for more of the normal LEGO formula and I have to do a vehicle section instead. Granted, there's only 3 of them, so, you know, whatever. The villains don't have vehicle segments as far as I can remember. I think theirs is just straight up the regular LEGO gameplay. I wish Robin would not get in the way of our mines. That would make this mission much easier. There are situations where I wish there were a second player playing with me, but they are few and far between. Mostly because I don't want my siblings playing this because I don't think they'd enjoy it very much. You know what? Fine. We died, but we got the job done. It's all good. I think vehicle sections are kind of a tradition in LEGO games, like a bit. I know LEGO Star Wars had them. I think LEGO Star Wars 2 had them. I don't remember much about LEGO Star Wars 2. I know that LEGO The Incredibles had them, but that's jumping a bit far ahead from LEGO Star Wars straight to LEGO The Incredibles. LEGO Batman sure as fuck obviously has them. I don't recall LEGO Marvel Superheroes having them, and that used to be my favorite LEGO game. So I feel like I'd remember. I know LEGO Marvel Superheroes has driving and racing sections in the open world, which I really, really loved. But that's because they established more consistent driving mechanics, so it actually felt like a driving game, as opposed to these sort of mini-game sections we're doing in LEGO Batman. I know LEGO Marvel Avengers has vehicle sections in the Vita and 3DS versions, but I don't remember in the console versions. I guess the vehicle sections must, if they do exist in those games, they must just slip my mind. Like, maybe I don't like them, or maybe they're not memorable enough, or something. I feel really, really dumb right now, because I've played so many LEGO games, but I'm totally blanking on the vehicle sections in most of them. If there are vehicle sections in most of them, help. I can remember the battle arenas in the Lego Ninjago movie. I can remember most of the levels in Lego Marvel's Superheroes note for note. Especially Sand Central Station. I know that for some reason Blade rides a pizza motorbike in Lego Marvel Superheroes. The first boss in Lego the Movie 2 video game is a giant Duplo dinosaur, and you have to defeat it in a really creative way that's actually really cool and may make it one of the best boss fights, if not the best boss fight in the entire series so far. I know a lot of Lego games have side-scrolling shooting sections that remind me of Defender, where you move around a 3D area in a 2D space and blow stuff up while the other player does something else like puzzle solving. I know Lego Marvel Avengers and Lego Dimensions have those, but I'm pretty sure they're not the only two. But I'm completely blanking on vehicle sections. So how this submarine boss works is we grab mines and we throw it at the submarine in the designated areas to drop the shield, and then after that we just shoot the submarine to death. Works for me. I like swinging the mines into it. It's really fun messing with the physics in this level. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree and find the physics frustrating. But, you know, I know the game expects patience from me because it's a physics puzzle, so I have no issue being patient. Maybe I should go and, like, make a list of all the vehicle sections and the story levels in Lego games. The open world driving missions don't count. I know those are technically vehicle sections, but that's definitely not what I'm referring to. There are some enemies in this boss battle, by the way, that our shots will just bounce off of, but I do believe Robin's torpedoes can destroy them, which is cool. It gives you something to do if you were to be playing as Robin during this, but as we are playing in single player, we're just playing as Batman. Wow, I'm doing so fucking terrible at aiming this thing. This is just embarrassing. There we go. Now we just shoot at it until it dies. Which works for me. Just keep pressing that B button until it blows up. The next level I really like, though. Actually, the next 3 levels I really like. I consider them the highlight of the hero missions, actually, these next 3 levels, after this boat battle. Also, the boat control's fine, I guess. Yes, I know, it's very funny. One of my favorite levels in the game is a sewer level. But this level's cool. This level introduces Robin's water suit, and it has a lot of water raising and lowering stuff to do, which I think is fun. Also, you know, more magnet suit, because we can never get enough of the magnet suit. This game really likes the magnet suit. I feel like it thought the magnet suit was a way cooler idea than it actually is. But that's okay, because there's nothing particularly wrong with the magnet suit. And we can still grapple enemies just fine while we have the magnet suit, which is not the case with every suit. Ignore that score multiplier section. If we wanted to get all the studs in a level, we would just buy a score multiplier after we got an unlockable. We're not going to try and get all the studs in a level when we're playing through it in story mode. That's just insanity. Except for maybe the vehicle sections, you could probably do that without hurting yourself emotionally. There we go. You can do a hit and run with the batarangs if you want to. It's just a lot harder than melee combat. Alright, so the AI has issues figuring out where it should be standing for this. We need to switch to Batman. And then kind of nudge this a few times until the AI gets the idea. There, now it knows where it should be standing. That's kind of weird, because usually the AI is perfectly fine in these circumstances. Alright, we got the water suit. I do like pathfinding. I think pathfinding is a fun thing. And I think this game does pathfinding well on average. Sometimes it could do it a lot better. But this time I like it. Like, obviously we needed to get over here and we didn't know how, and now that we can breathe underwater, we know how. I would have really preferred to build Robin's water suit rather than just find it lying around. But I guess that's a minor complaint, given how fun the rest of the level is. I like how murky and gross the water tanks are. It really sells the atmosphere for me. Speaking of sewer levels, Lego Batman 3 also starts in a sewer, and I like Lego Batman 3 a lot. So, you know, maybe Lego Batman is just good at sewers. Maybe that's its thing. I really have almost no complaints about this level besides really minor ones. The pathfinding is really good. The new suit is really cool. I like that there's actual challenging platforming in it. Also, we can't grapple the alligators. One of the many reasons I was wrong about grappling being the solution to all combat. But yeah, actual platforming, genuinely fun pathfinding where you have all the information you need to have. The combat's paced out so it's in the right places without being frustrating. Suit switching in this level is a lot more meaningful than in other levels. Just in general, this is a really, really cool level. And I kind of wish more of the levels were like this. But I guess they made fucking 30 of them, so they can't all be winners. Or most of them, even. Nothing to do here in story mode except slide down here. This is a weird room. We're obviously supposed to get up there, and there's only so many things to do. So by breaking everything, we can figure out that we're supposed to activate a mechanism to get up. But if this room weren't so small and didn't have so few things to interact with, you can bet I'd be stuck here a while. Thankfully, the room is small and it has very few things to interact with. I think that's a large reason I get along well with the portable versions of LEGO games, is because there's a lot less what the fuck am I doing. The areas are more contained without sacrificing any of their atmosphere, so I can more easily tell what's supposed to be going on. Granted, LEGO Batman's layout is still fairly simple compared to newer LEGO games. Now, even though I'm not really looking for extras to toy around with, there is an extra in this room that I have to mess around with simply because you need to see it. Let's open all these trash cans. And, we're gonna build the one thing you would think a sewer wouldn't need. A toilet. And it spits out studs. Now, if we had a character with super strength, we could destroy the toilet by lifting it up, but let's not. And in here is a completely optional toy alligator that we can build. I just wanted to show these two off, because I think they're cute and fun, unlike most of the things in free play mode. He destroys that box, but we can destroy it ourselves, so we didn't need him for that. We can also jump on the alligator to make studs pop out. Man, I just really like this level. This level just has a lot of cute and fun stuff in it. I appreciate that Robin does not sink even with his magnet suit on. Must be really hard to swim in that thing. It seems heavy. Like, really obscenely heavy. I wonder where they got that sound effect for the suit change, because it sounds like nothing I've ever heard before. Man, I feel much better now that we've hit this stretch of levels. Not that I hate the other levels or anything, but I just like these levels more, and I think they're way better designed, more varied, more colorful, more enjoyable than the rest of the levels in the game. I also really like this boss. It's all about very simple placement and evasion. You punch Killer Croc a few times, you hide somewhere that he can't throw shit at you, and then you punch him again. I find that behind this bed is the ideal spot to hide, because he'll almost always throw his objects against the wall, and even if he doesn't, he'll still miss you. But yeah, so it's a very short, very simple boss fight, but I like bosses that are like little tiny puzzles, and this is definitely one of those. You find a place to hide from the garbage he throws, and you've solved the puzzle. And the puzzle's only like a minute long, so it doesn't outstay its welcome. And a part of me just feels smart for finishing this puzzle, even though I'm pretty sure anyone could do it. I think an advantage LEGO Batman 3 has over LEGO Batman 1 and 2 is that it is called Beyond Gotham, and as such, many of the levels are way more colorful and varied than Gotham City, which is dark, because Gotham's a dark place. Guess what? I also really like this level. This level probably has the most variety out of all the hero locations. I like that we just busted open what looks like an arcade or something. This level can be a bit dense on enemies, but aside from that, I think it's pretty great. It's probably the most varied hero mission, as I've said. There's some actual platforming in it. All of the locations are actually colorful and nice looking, contrasted to a lot of the other locations in the game, which, you know, I get it. Gotham City is supposed to be dark, but I don't think it fits super great with the atmosphere of the LEGO games. Don't think it fits super great. LEGO Batman 2, more of an exception because it has a serious story to tell. So having a good representation of Gotham that's not just the colorful parts matters more. But you can still see there's a lot more color and life in this level than in most of the other ones we've seen previously. Like, I'm sure even if I didn't bring it up, you could tell this level's more colorful, more vibrant, more alive. And I like that. Doesn't necessarily lose any of the dark charm either. Alright, so, there was a gate over to the right that we couldn't reach before, but now we can, by getting Batman up here with his glide suit. This is what I mean by the pathfinding I actually like. We had a place we needed to get to, we couldn't get there, and now we can. And the way we got there follows some sort of logical pattern. I didn't have to beat myself up trying to figure out what to do. Also, now that you know vehicles break through LEGO blocks that normally can only be broken by explosives, the game largely stays consistent with that. Like, there are many other points, such as this one, where you will use vehicles to break through things. But I still don't think a hint pop-up would have been out of the question, considering how many hint pop-ups the game already uses. giving us an extra hint pop-up to let us know that sometimes silver blocks can be broken by vehicles, I think that's more than acceptable. Sorry, that was just one of the few situations where using the batarang had some actual utility in combat. So I had to make use of that while I could. Look at how colorful this level is. And it doesn't sacrifice any of the cool, dark atmosphere for it. I get that not all of Gotham can look like this, but hopefully you see what I'm saying. Also, I really like the puzzle in this area right here. I get a little ahead of myself with it, but there's a lot of building, a lot of going back and forth, a lot of bridges, a lot of pathfinding, a lot of fun stuff. We have Robin's technology suit, but nothing to use it on yet. And we're about to have something to use it on. But still not the object it controls. So we're going to go get that next. Using Batman and his glide suit, which is still my favorite suit. That has not changed in the last 20 minutes. So what we've got to do is build the thing for Robin's suit to control, which is unusual. But now that we have, we can grab it using Robin. My controls froze there for a moment. Anyway, we can control this turtle, and we can make it walk on land. Which took me for fucking ever to figure out as a kid, but it seems very obvious now. We just scoot the turtle on inside here where we couldn't fit ourselves. And just like that, the door's open. And now we're gonna go get Batman's Sonic suit, which is bad because I skipped a step. We do need the Sonic suit, because we need to break open that glass that has the switch over to the right, but I forgot to move the bridge. Yeah, so I gotta go back and get the glide suit, and then build the bridge, and then go get the Sonic suit. Got a little bit ahead of myself there. Memorized the puzzle so thoroughly I started skipping steps, which is not the first video game this has happened in. Went one step ahead. A little too fast. Slow down there. Alright, now that the bridge is made, we can go get the Sonic suit. The next area of this level also really cool. All of this level is really cool. Yes, I know I'm not rescuing the hostages. That is deliberate. I'm deliberately avoiding rescuing the hostages. Is there a reason for that? No, there isn't. And this area just looks like we walked into another game entirely, like a completely different Lego game, and I am a-okay with that. I am a-okay with all this bright green after all that dark gray and blue and stuff we've been seeing so much of. This place is downright vibrant. Anyway, the thing I appreciate most about this area, not the combat, but the platforming, which we will get to after we're done with the combat and finish smashing up everything on this boat. I like that you can throw men into objects and it will destroy them, but throwing men into each other doesn't do anything. Very odd choice, that. Alright, so we're gonna smash up everything on this boat because we have to build what we need. And also to clear the way for, don't know what that white flash was, and also to clear the way for, some future adventures. There we go. Now we can build a boardwalk and get to the platforming part, which is the fun part of this area. Well, the visuals are the fun part too, but I meant like the fun gameplay part of this area. So we can bounce on these pads, which is really awesome. Do you have to bounce on these pads? No, but you get additional studs. And it's a chance to actually do some challenging platforming, which this game does not offer you a lot of chances for. Boing. And after we get over here, we build Batman's demolition suit. We can go inside the boat and fight the boss. Thankfully, Batman made his way over here, so we didn't have to switch to him and manually swim him over. That happens sometimes. Sometimes he makes you make him swim all the way over. So there's one more level I really like after this one, and then that's kind of it for levels I really enjoy in the hero missions, which kind of sucks. I mean, I don't hate this game like I said, but I wish there were more of this. So this boss fight isn't bad. As most boss fights, it starts with us punching him until he runs away, and then we have to build something. This isn't, like, the world's greatest LEGO boss fight, but it's also not awful. The visuals clearly indicate what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to blow up, and how it works. I also like that Man-Bat throws bombs as he flies overhead, because they're actually pretty non-threatening, but they give the illusion of threat well enough. Also, he doesn't flood the area with goons while we're fighting him, which is much appreciated. So we activate this, which plays really loud, obnoxious music, and it makes Man-Bat fall over, and then we punch him. Then he blows it up, and we have to rebuild it. Oh, you know that thing I said about him not summoning goons? Never mind, apparently I was wrong. Apparently I was just dead wrong. Anyway, we have to rebuild it. And then we just do it again. Very short, very simple boss fight. I guess there were only 3 goons, so maybe that's why I forgot. Anyway, there we go. And yet another reason I was wrong about grappling being the solution to everything, we cannot grapple these penguins, and they also have guns, which makes them very dangerous, actually. Very dangerous. This level only has 2 rooms in it. This really long room, and then the boss room. It's a very short level, but I think it makes up for it by having a boss that's actually clever, and requires some thinking to solve. Well, more thinking than most, at least. Hey, the glide suit's back. Still my favorite suit. Has not changed. Not likely to anytime soon, but I can't promise it never will. My opinion changes a lot. Sometimes between videos. Because I'm never really done thinking about something. I can keep thinking about something more and more, and inevitably, the more I think about it, the likelihood that my opinion will change increases. That's how that works. You know, something I notice about this game is that it's surprisingly difficult to find anyone talking about the combat. I mean, it's not like there's a lot to say about it, but they tried a little more than previous LEGO games did with the combat. I mean, Indiana Jones let you pick up and use one-use tools during combat, like one-use... like, you can pick up chairs and throw them at people, or wrenches, or you can pick up guns. All of these things usually being disposable. I like the idea of knocking down icicles, but I don't like that I can't knock them all down at once. That really bothers me on an emotional level. But yeah, they tried a little more with the combat in this game, so I wish more people would talk about it. Again, there's not a lot to say, but, you know, it's something. Alright, time for the boss battle already. Yep, this is pretty much over. So this level confused and frustrated me as a kid, but as an adult I can appreciate it a lot more. First of all, don't worry about Catwoman. She's just there to bother you, and if you punch her, she'll go away. But, we have to use our batarangs to hit those things up there by the penguin. There we go. And then after we do this, he'll send penguin bombers after us. And what we do is we move this turnstile in the middle, so that way when the penguins bump into it, they deflect and run into one of the generators that's powering his machine. Like that. I like that. I like that a lot. It took me ages to figure out what to do as a kid, but that's because I wasn't thinking like I was solving an actual puzzle, but now I am. So I can appreciate this a lot more. It's really one of the more fun boss fights in LEGO games, not just in LEGO Batman. Boss fights are a really hit and miss thing in LEGO games, honestly. But almost all of the hero... No, almost all... Do all of the hero missions end in... I think all of the hero missions end in boss battles. I think every single one, even the vehicle ones. Yeah, pretty sure every hero mission ends in a boss battle in this game. So that's like 15 boss battles. It's quite a lot. Can't blame some of them for being hit and miss. It's not like Traveler's Tales is Treasure or something. Or whoever developed Rapid Angel, because they also had a really boss fight packed video game, and they did a good job with that. Alright, so now that we destroyed all the generators, the penguin just comes down to hit us. We hit him back, and then he flies away, and we hit him with our batarang to make him fall, and then start hitting him again. And that's pretty much all there is to this part of the boss fight. Which is fine. I feel like I've earned the right to punch him in the face. I do want to thank him for giving the game its best hero missions, though. I don't want to say it's all downhill from here, but it's kind of downhill from here. None of the levels are going to be as good as the last few we played in terms of visual variety, mechanical variety, and general atmosphere, platforming. But anyway, these levels were fun. So that's cool.